You are Locked On Celtics Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, no Jayson Tatum, no Jaylen Brown, no problem for the Celtics as they reach 50 regular season victories, win their third in a row, complete the series sweep against the Brooklyn Nets. And how about, no, not Derrick White. He played well. No, not Kristaps Porzingis. He played well for the second straight game since coming back from illness. No, not Payton Pritchard off the bench, but Baylor Scheierman off the bench and scoring a career-high 20 in the Celtics win against the Brooklyn Nets at TD Garden on Tuesday night. Now it's on the road for 6 in a row. You are right where you need to be. You are locked on with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime college basketball play-by-play announcer, former show host on satellite radio and ESPN radio. Still to this day, cannot believe that Shaquille O'Neal played 37 games and started 36 games for the Celtics during the 2010-2011 NBA season. With our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, yes, we are providing reaction to the Celtics win at home against the Brooklyn Nets. We are live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. We're also available wherever you get your podcasts with the Locked On Celtics podcast feed with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. Again, we're going to talk about Baylor Scheierman and doing a terrific job. Knocked down a three late in the third quarter and then was on fire in the fourth quarter. We do want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the Celtics conversation, watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Don't be a stranger. Hit the comment button and join our Celtics conversation. You can subscribe to the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. That's certainly appreciated. You can follow us on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at Lennox on Hoops as well, with questions, comments, or concerns. No concerns right now as the Celtics pick up the victory again, their 50th on the season.
This is what you'll be talking about.
So, yeah, we're certainly going to be talking about the Celtics without Jaylen Brown, without Jayson Tatum. First time all season, the Celtics have had both of their superstars out of the starting lineup in the same game. But Baylor, big time. Baylor Scheierman hit a three. Closing seconds of the third quarter. It was waved off because the Nets had a foul to give, and they did it in perfect fashion. Then on the inbound, Scheierman hit the three, waved off. Inbound to Porzingis, kind of punched it towards Scheierman, had a long three-pointer, and the Celtics, their big man, their new guy, another guy with a 20-point performance, a career high in points for Baylor Scheierman, hit that three, and through three, the Celtics with a 1-point advantage, up 71-70 going to the fourth quarter against the Nets. The Nets in that third quarter just 9 of 23 overall, 3 of 12 on the three-point line. And then fourth quarter, Holiday and Hauser back-to-back baskets early on. Scheierman a three, that gave him 11 for the game. Celtics a little breathing room, up 78-74. Celtics at one point in that fourth quarter missing 6 straight shots, but then they got going. Pritchard, offensive rebound. Scheierman, a three. That put the Celtics up 81-80. It was sort of back and forth there, and the crowd was into it. Scheierman, in transition, green light, the Danny Ainge three. Transition, no problem. We're not looking at something at the rim. It was a good 10 feet behind the three-point line, buried the three. Got a lot of rim on that one, but the Celtics up 84-80 at that point. Scheierman, another three, 17 of his 20 in the second half. He was 4 of 4 on threes and had 12 in the fourth quarter, and that was the pick-me-up. After Scheierman knocked down another three, Pritchard a three, Celtics up 7, 92-85. Holiday had a layup to make it an 8-point lead. At that point, their largest lead of the game. Nets clawed, though. Porzingis had an alley-oop dunk to make it a 6-point game, and the Celtics win this one over the Nets by a score of 104-96. And the Celtics, 44 points in the first half. That tied for their second fewest points in the first half this season at 40 at home in a loss against the Warriors way back in the first half of the season. But just 44. But then 60 points total in the second half, and you just sort of thought, and I was thinking of PK tattoos, and we get to the comments here in just a moment if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Sorry I missed Saturday in game one of the back-to-back against the Nets, but the last game that we did with the Locked On Celtics postcast against Miami, and I believe it was PK tattoos who said, might have been the most boring game of the season. I didn't think Tuesday was boring, but just along the lines of, you just got to come away with this victory. And at the half, I'm thinking, okay, who's stepping up for the Celtics? Now, Derrick White had a great third quarter, scoring 13 points in that third quarter. But overall, his shooting wasn't that great. Horford knocked down a three after D'Angelo Russell opened up the third with a three. Then the Nets missed on a three. White a three, Celtics within two. White off glass. The game tied at 52, and then 2 minutes off the clock, the Celtics scoring 8 straight points in that third quarter. And, Derrick White had a strong three. White and Porzingis both had 16 through the first 3 quarters of play. White, 5 of 12 and 13 points in that third quarter. So he stepped up. And then it was Scheierman, some guy you're not really game planning for, but some guy who's got to be on the scout with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown both out of the lineup. Now, I don't think we see that again for the Celtics the rest of the way for the regular season. And there's been a lot of stories recently about, Tatum basically coming to the gym every night and saying, you know what, I'm playing. We're locked in. Think of Jaren Duran, last year for the Red Sox, wanted to play every single game. I would imagine that Tatum and Brown are going to both be kept out for a couple of games down the stretch here. Pretty much locked up the number 2 spot in the Eastern Conference. Pretty much locked up the third best record in the NBA. Did not listen to NBC Sports Boston on Tuesday night. Put it on the Nets broadcast because in the New Haven, Connecticut area, I get Boston and New York regional sports network. So I listened to Ryan Ruocco and Sarah Kustok. And I want to bring up a point with Ryan Ruocco because he said it might have been for an ESPN game recently. Ryan does both Nets and NBA on ESPN. He said, recent conversation with Joe Mazzulla. And Mazzulla basically saying, I drive to the gym, I go to the arena, TD Garden or on the road, every single game knowing that my 2 best players basically want to suit up every single game unless there's a serious injury and they can't go. But if they're questionable that day, they're going to come to the gym, and you're going to get their best efforts. And Ryan Ruocco and Sarah Kustok, I enjoyed the broadcast on the Nets side. They basically said, that's not every NBA team. We know that. And I've said it before, appreciate what you have in Tatum and Brown. Because Tatum probably could have talked his way into playing. But now you've got 6 in a row on the road, and you want him healthy for the postseason. You want him healthy for the NBA playoffs. But again, I thought that was a great comment, a great share by Ryan Ruocco on the broadcast about Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla and his 2 stars. Only time this season they have not been in the starting lineup together. Watching the Nets, and I really did think the Celtics were going to break away at some point, but they stuck around all the way to the end. One thing I was thinking in the fourth quarter, are they going to get to 100? Anyone going to break 100? First team to 100 won the ball game. To your comments we go. If you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, don't be a stranger and join the conversation. Here we go. Johnny, our first Baylor player of the game. Way too early. But yeah, he's the leading candidate. And yeah, you know what? Since we have all of our elements, Johnny, I wonder if that's something from childhood. Johnny, first in with the comments, player of the game, bang.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Yeah, we got to go, Baylor Scheierman, because he picked it up big time. And a tip of the cap to him with his points. So, Johnny, we'll do that now rather than in our second segment. Again, we've got new production elements with our Locked On Celtics postcast. So, player of the game, normally second segment, but Johnny, Johnny, there's got to be a story with that. That's got to be something from childhood. I'm guessing a mom, a grandmother, or an aunt used to use that with you. I'm just going out on a limb there. Let's get back to it. Fat man. Great game from KP, and Baylor cooked tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you needed it, right? It wasn't necessarily White or Payton Pritchard going off. And, again, White had a strong third quarter, had a strong game. But all of a sudden, Baylor Scheierman, second in the team in points and a career high. And dude can shoot from long range. Go figure. Another Celtics player that can light it up from downtown. PK tattoos. Porzingis all game. Porzingis was solid on the defensive end. D. White in the third. Scheierman entire second half right there. This team is so deep. It really is at this point, and they're going to need that in the playoffs. I would dare say they're going to need it more this year than they did in winning the NBA title for the 23-24 NBA season. More from PK Tattoos. This team so deep. Do we think they'll be keep resting and let the bench play? I think they'll pick their spots. That's how I look at it. And Ryan Ruocco, again, on the Yes Network with the Nets broadcast, basically said it, and it was a perfect time, right? You had Sunday off. You had Monday off. You play Tuesday. Now you have the next 2 days off. You play Friday, Sunday. So that's a nice stretch where Tatum has days off. That was probably put together, I would say, 10 to 14 days ago, maybe even further out. That, hey, we're eyeing this game where you're going to be out of the lineup. We're going to play the same team twice in a 4-day period. It's a team in the Brooklyn Nets. Hey, they played a back-to-back. They played Saturday and Sunday. So they were playing for the third time in 4 days. But Tatum with this stretch, yes. Final 4 games, when they come back from the road trip, there's only a handful of games left in the season. I think they picked their spots. And maybe it's Tatum a couple of more times. Again, we don't know the significance with Brown. Left the game the other day, back spasms. Back spasms with the lower body injury that he has. If you're favoring it, that's when back spasms sort of pop up. When you're favoring one leg over the other. When I saw back spasms and reading the game recap from Saturday, I thought, yeah, I've been explained that by athletic trainers over the years. And it makes sense. You're favoring anything below the knee. If you got a hamstring issue above the knee or anything at the knee or lower, Achilles, calf, ankle, you start favoring one leg over the other, that leads to back. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to play one. But that did not surprise me with the back spasms for Jaylen Brown the other night. Rain. Great win without JT and JB. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, if you're in the playoffs and you're playing without those two, you're in trouble, right? But the depth of this team, we've talked about it all season long, and the depth allows someone down on the bench, not playing consistent minutes off the bench. I thought Torrey Craig he had a 3 where I thought he was going to knock it down. Torrey Craig is, okay, a couple of moments here and there, but I really thought Torrey Craig would, in this game, I thought maybe he would be the guy early on in the first half when he got in. I'm like, you know what? Let's see if he goes off a little bit here. No, Baylor Scheierman, our player of the game. Again, thank you, Johnny. Joseph, good win. Can give you a future player comp for Baylor Scheierman. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but he's starting to look very good for a rookie drafted where he was. You've got a comp for us. You got to give it to us. Can you give me? Oh, I'm sorry. Future player comp for Baylor Scheierman. I really can't, Joseph. But I've said this recently. At some point in time, Payton Pritchard's going to have to get paid. And it might be by the Celtics. But again, that extends your cap and the different things for the future. That's down the road. I mean, is Scheierman, at some point, is it Hauser or Scheierman? I don't know. And that's just real quick here with you throwing that out. The Real Darrell. Good team win. There we go. Pascal. Nice win without the Jays. Yeah, that's the consensus here. Can we get more of Baylor in these last few games? I think you will. Yeah. But again, there's been times where these guys, remember Peterson? Earlier in the year, all of a sudden you're in the starting lineup. He may not play for a couple more games, and then all of a sudden you might see him. This road trip, you've got Utah. You can give Baylor Scheierman some minutes and still win a game against the Utah Jazz. I do believe. There's a couple of games in there. But Joe Mazzulla we shall trust, right? Sort of go from there. All right, numbers of the night coming up next. Keep the comments coming. Steve Lennox with you, Locked On Celtics postcast, talking about the Celtics win at home against the Nets. They've now won 8 straight games against Brooklyn, and now a season high 31 games over 500. 50 wins for the C's. That's part of numbers of the night coming up next. As always, glad to have you on board with our Locked On Celtics postcast, part of the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, also available wherever you get your podcasts with the Locked On Celtics podcast as well. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. We are presented, got to get this right here. We are presented by FanDuel. Hey, nope, I had that right the first time. Let's get that right. We are presented by Hungry Root. When it comes to grocery shopping and meal planning, you might have this ongoing problem, and I'll admit I've got it right now. You just don't have the time. Well, I do have the time, but between work, life, and trying to eat healthier, you might be constantly feeling stressed out. Yes, you go to the grocery store. This is the part that I do. Buy things you didn't need, and then you end up with no time to actually cook and sticking to your health goals. Well, that is a struggle as well. But everything might change when you discover Hungry Root. It's a game changer. It's the easiest way to eat healthy without all the stress. With Hungry Root, it's like having a personal shopper and a nutritionist all in one. They take care of your grocery shopping, recommending meals and groceries based on your taste and your health goals. From anti-inflammatory to high protein and gluten-free options, best part, every meal is ready in 15 minutes or less. We are talking quick, healthy meals that actually taste great, all delivered straight to your door. Hey, it's a huge time saver and makes healthy eating much, much simpler. You're going to love Hungry Root. For a limited time, get 40% off. Again, for a limited time, get 40% off your first box and a free item in every box for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. Locked On Celtics postcast also presented by FanDuel. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. You might have your eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. With tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something exciting to bet on. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. And our Locked On Celtics postcast also brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop, just manage your money, and start building your wealth. All in one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan your long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances today. Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off on your first year. All right, back to the comments we go. Steve Lennox with you, Locked On Celtics postcast. Celtics now off until Friday when they open up a 6-game road trip against the Utah Jazz. Pascal, a less than 100% of Jaylen Brown in the playoffs concerns me. Well, There's an old cliche that at this point in the year, nobody getting minutes in the NBA, nobody in game 140 of a Major League Baseball season or week 17 or 18 of the NFL season, nobody's 100% right now. And Tatum, or Brown rather, is on record saying, hey, I know when I can go. And he understands a lot of it is the pain threshold. Will Tatum or Brown miss a game in the playoffs? Absolutely possible. Not necessarily load management, but just to take one game. Maybe it's a game 3. Maybe it's a game where there's a couple of days between two games. It could be very strategic. But they have first. I mean, an athlete. Hey, we all have to be honest with ourselves first. If he can go, if he's as close to 90, 95%, then you're in for good things. But nobody's 100%. Even Porzingis, with missing the games that he had due to an illness, and I'm not pushing the illness to the side at all, not scoffing at it. He's still there's still bumps and bruises. Steven. Baylor was 1 for 15 before tonight. Yeah, his numbers, overall weren't great. But again, with the inconsistent minutes and not playing consistently off the bench, it's hard to expect a guy to come in. I mean, what Payton Pritchard is doing off the bench for the Celtics, he gets his minutes every single game. He is the absolute front runner for Sixth Man of the Year. But not everyone off the bench is going to get Pritchard's minutes and the looks as well. Hey, if Scheierman had played the minutes that he played Tuesday night and either Brown or Tatum were on the floor, he's probably not on the floor to the extent he was in that fourth quarter. Now, they rolled with the hot hand. 4 for 4 on the three-point line in that fourth quarter. So it was right there for him. Celtics again pick up the victory. Numbers of the night coming up with the win. Again, Celtics 31 games over 500 for the first time this season. They've won 3 in a row and 8 of their last 9. And 50 victories in a season. 4th straight year that they've done that. 37th time in franchise history where the Celtics have won 50 or more games in a regular season. 60 is a big number. 50 is a big number as well. So you've gotten to 50. Your third best team in the NBA right now, record-wise, 31 games over 500. And the Celtics have owned the Nets. I don't know what the Nets are over the next couple of years. I like their head coach, Jordi Fernandez. They've got some pieces. I don't know what the money situation is, but they're going to be a pain in the neck. I dare say, Celtics have won 8 in a row and 14 of their last 15 against the Brooklyn Nets. Does that continue into the future? I don't know because, again, I like their head coach. I think they've bought in, but now they've got to take steps forwards. They've got some pieces. Who do they keep? Who do they lose? Who do they bring in? As I mentioned, 4th straight year with 50 or more wins for the Celtics, 37th time in franchise history, and now 14-0 on the season when holding an opponent below 100 points. So now it's on the road. 6 in a row. We've been talking about it for a while. Great homestand last time out with 5 victories in 7 games on an extended homestand. But now you've got 6 straight on the road. Utah, Portland, Sacramento. Portland and Sacramento back-to-back next Sunday and Monday. Then Phoenix, San Antonio, and Memphis. So I'll say right now you want 4-2. Utah, come on. Portland, might give them a game. Sacramento, beat them already. Beat them in Boston. Phoenix, who knows who will be playing in that game for the Suns. San Antonio, and then Memphis with John Morant and Jaren Jackson. And, you want to beat Sacramento and Memphis, right? You want those. After the road trip is complete, you've got 7 left in the regular season. Hey, we want to remind you your favorite podcast now has a newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. As always, we tip our cap and acknowledge everyone that contributed with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Even if you are live with us and did not make a comment, that's okay. We do appreciate the follow as well. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right there on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. And you can also follow us on the Twitter or X at Lennox on Hoops. PK Tattoos, shout out to your son. Did not see that one until we logged off last Friday, but no, he was hooping it up over the weekend. I believe it was your son. And, hey, great job. Steven, one more. Something kind of Marcus Smart about him tonight, referring to Scheierman. I don't know. I'd have to see more of Scheierman to say that he's anything close to Marcus Smart, because Marcus Smart, he's just always been one of my favorite players, even back to his college days as well. We've got one more production element.
This is what you'll be talking about. Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Yeah, our producer's already been fired. That's me. Our technical director is fired. That's me. The turning point of the game, Scheierman's 3. He's our player of the game. We gave that in our first segment. Scheierman's 3 at the end of the third quarter gave the Celtics a 1-point lead. And I'm not going to say it gave him the confidence to go 4 for 4 on the 3-point line in the fourth quarter. But he was already heating up, and he just continued that into the fourth quarter as well. The Celtics end up beating the Nets and take care of business in this one, winning 104-96. KP, second straight game with a solid effort after coming off his illness with a double-double, had the 25 points and 13 rebounds, and also had 3 block shots as well. We've got a couple of nights off, back at it on Friday, first of a road trip for the Celtics to the West Coast, and we'll be on within minutes of the final buzzer with the Celtics and Utah Jazz meeting for the second and final time during the regular season. Locked On Sports Boston, number one place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports, your team, your Celtics every day.